Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Show Me the Truth, where today we're going to be getting into this video that we found talking about immigration. I mean, mass immigration, it's a challenge, isn't it? Man, there's a migrant surge, they say. But we want to go ahead, we want to look at this video, we want to break it apart, we want to do some reactions, but we need your feedback and your comments. Where do you stand on this massive issue of immigration? And we're going to be tuning in. We're going to be making sure that you know what's going on over here in Texas. So without further ado, let me go ahead and roll the clip now.
The crisis at the border continues as Texas Governor Greg Abbott and over a dozen other governors plan to address the controversy happening in Eagle Pass in Shelby Park.
25 Republican governors have signed a letter saying they stand with Texas.
I think they're doing the absolute right thing by standing their ground. They have every right to defend the sovereignty of their state.
The consequences of it are so extreme that the people being smuggled by the cartels, they will not want to be coming into the state of Texas.
The president is the one who has taken action to deal with this, while House Republicans do not.
Also on the border this weekend, more than a dozen governors will be headed to the Texas-Mexico border this weekend.
Sunday, Governor Abbott and other Republican leaders will have a press conference at Shelby Park. That's the city park the state has taken over in Eagle Pass.
So Shelby Park, as we know, in Eagle Pass has been the site of recent controversy between Texas state and the federal law enforcement. So last week, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Texas can't block federal agents from the border in Shelby Park.
However, is that constitutional? Oh, you and I know that it is not. And so that's why Texas has a humongous problem with the federal government, okay? Because what it's doing, the federal government is doing some government overreach, and all Texas is doing is standing their ground. Have you heard that before? They're standing their ground, and they're making sure that the Constitution is being upheld.
Looking ahead to this weekend, Governor Greg Abbott will be in Shelby Park in Eagle Pass on Sunday with 14 other governors to talk about the current border crisis. The governor is expected to give an update on Operation Lone Star and border policies. Over 1,000 National Guard members are coming to our southern border. That's courtesy of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. DeSantis announcing this yesterday. Battalion will be deployed based on our state's needs, saying, quote, "Our reinforcements will help Texas to add additional barriers, including razor wire along the border. We don't have a country if we don't have a border."
So why is North Dakota standing with Texas?
Well, we've been standing with Texas long before this latest skirmish with the Biden administration.
Now watch what he says next.
This is clearly Governor Abbott's on the right path here under Joe Biden. I mean, it's been a complete disaster. It's not just the fact that in December, the numbers you just reported, that's equivalent to the city of every man, woman, and child in New Orleans came into the United States illegally in December. But you add up under his administration, we've blown through the 8 million mark. That's every man, woman, and child in Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Joe Biden's home state of Delaware, throw in Montana. That's how you get to 8 million. And then you throw on 300,000 overdose deaths, 6 Vietnams worth of deaths during the time that Joe Biden's been president. We do have a mass invasion. We do have mass casualties. The states created the federal government, not the other way around. And we have a national security crisis. The Biden administration is failing to do their job, so states need to step up.
I think they're doing the absolute right thing by standing their ground. They have every right to defend the sovereignty of their state. And yes, we've seen massive numbers of people flooding New York City. We've seen crime, drugs, all that stuff is very significant. But it's also a fundamental issue. A country has borders. If you don't have a border, you are not a country.
Here with more, Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Governor, first I applaud your efforts. You've been on this show many times. You've tried convoys. You have done everything humanly possible. So your state, with its constitutional right, has put up the razor wire. They take you to court on that. And now they set up a confrontation between your National Guard and federal border troops. Now, I don't think either side of that equation wants to be enemies. They're all on the same side, aren't they?
They are, and as you pointed out, and as Border Patrol Council and Border Patrol members have made clear to Texas and to myself, they want to have nothing to do with regard to tearing down that razor wire or tearing down the barriers that Texas has erected for one simple reason, and that's because they are working. Border Patrol says that what Texas has done to secure the border actually makes their job even easier. The only resistance we're facing is coming from Joe Biden. Know this, Sean, and that is Joe Biden is in violation of federal law that already exists. For one, he is not living up to his duty to deny illegal entry across the border. Instead, he's aiding that illegal entry. The second thing is he's not, once people do cross the border, he is not detaining them as he's required by law. Instead, he's giving mass parole across the country. Because Joe Biden is not enforcing the federal immigration laws, that gives Texas the right, under that Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution, to defend ourselves from imminent harm or from an invasion. So Texas has every constitutional right in this case, and I believe when the sun sets on this, Texas will be vindicated and the Constitution will be strengthened.
Joe Biden has been aiding and abetting in the law breaking. Joe Biden, I'd even go further. He is violating the laws of this country. He is violating his oath to uphold our Constitution. I could put up on the screen, Title 8 USC 1324. It prohibits alien smuggling, domestic transportation. It goes into, every harboring illegal immigrants, encouraging or inducing, conspiracy, aiding and abetting.
Amazing.
Well, fair point, but also you're making another profound point. You listed all those different ways that the Biden administration has these duties and responsibilities. Because they're not just doing that job poorly, but because they have totally abandoned doing that job whatsoever. That is exactly what gives Texas our constitutional right for Texas to be able to act. So by Texas building the barriers that we have, by us taking the action to repel illegal immigration, we're fully authorized because the federal government has ceded or conceded the field of immigration enforcement, and Texas has picked up that duty, and we're the ones in self-enforcement. And let me tell you this amazing number, Sean. If you know where that park is, where Texas now has taken over and we blockaded that park, that is an area where sometimes over the past year, there would be as many as 2 or 3 or more than that 1,000 people coming across the border a day. Yesterday, there were just 6 people crossing the border. All 6 of those people were arrested by Texas law enforcement officers. We have now cracked down and been able to staunch the flow of illegal immigration. Biden should want this replicated across the entire border. That's what Texas is trying to do as we speak.
I got to say one good thing. Your fellow Republican governors have been pretty amazing. They've all come to your defense, every one of them. And they're offering guard troops. They are offering razor wire. They're offering all the help. They understand that you're bearing the brunt of this, but they also understand that their states are also impacted by Joe Biden's open borders. And these people are unvetted, as I keep pointing out. And now Joe Biden's being encouraged to federalize your National Guard, your state guard. What happens if he tries that? What if that happens?
If he tries to do that, first of all, as you know, this is the #1 issue in America. Americans want a secure border. If Joe Biden federalizes our National Guard, that would be the biggest political blunder that he could make. And that's why I think he will not do it. That said, of course, I am prepared in the event that they do make such a blunder to make sure that Texas will be able to continue to secure our border.
You've heard from these former retired FBI, people in the upper echelon of the FBI warning that this is an invasion, warning that a lot of these people are, men that are of age that they could wage war on the country. What are the odds that from these countries that they're coming from that?
Well, so Sean, what you just said taps into the words in Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3, where it talks about imminent danger. We are in imminent danger because, as you rightfully point out, these are facts. And that is, there are people who are known terrorists who are coming across the border. that pose an imminent danger, whether it be in Texas or some other state. Because Biden is not doing his job, that fully authorizes the state of Texas to protect our state and our country from that imminent danger.
Yeah. Governor, I applaud what you're doing. It's unfair that Texas has to go through this. I am glad that your fellow Republican governors have all stepped up and they're offering you assistance in any way they can. That speaks volumes about them. I hope the United States
Sean,
Senate
if
Republicans...
let me just say, say thank you to my fellow governors. Half of America now is standing against the Biden administration, also more than a majority of all the attorneys general across the country. Biden is not taking on Texas. Biden is taking on the United States of America.
You've done a great job, Governor, under very difficult circumstances, and everybody's pulling for you down there. Hang in there.
Thanks, Green. First, a whole high school in New York is having remote classes today because the building was needed to house people who came into this country illegally. So what is the president's priority in this case? Is it the migrants or is it the students?
So let me just clear this up a little bit. So yesterday, New York City informed us that as a precaution, they would temporarily relocate migrants staying at Floyd Bennett Field to a nearby high school. As of this morning, all migrants have returned to the facility at Floyd Bennett Field. And so anything specific as to the program and what decided to do and all of the specifics to that, I would certainly refer you to New York City for any additional questions.
But if a working parent had to call out to stay home with their kid today, isn't this Biden immigration policy literally taking money out of people's pockets?
Let me just say, I'm going to actually go back to your first question for a second because I think I do need to address that, which is, you know, when it comes to education, migrants, the economy, the president deals with multiple issues all at once. That is his job. There are multiple things happening all at once. And as it relates to this particular question that you're asking me about in New York City, that is something that New York City needs the answers to. That is a process that they took, so they have to answer to that. And as it relates to migrants and what's happening at the border, look, the president has taken this issue very seriously by making sure that on his first day, which is almost 3 years, it'll be a couple weeks, it'll be 3 years ago, that he put forward a comprehensive immigration legislation to deal with what's happening with the immigration process, obviously, and also the border. And this is an issue that's been going on for decades. The system has been broken for decades. And the president is the one who has taken action to deal with this while House Republicans do not. They get in the way.
And Hunter Biden on Capitol Hill today.
Boy, here we go.
How big of a headache is that for you?
Hunter Biden is a private citizen. He is not a member of the White House, as you know, and I just don't have anything else to share.
But the last time he was on the Hill, he said the president was certainly familiar with what his son was going to say.
I did say that, and what I'm saying today,
that President Biden does not help him with his business deals, but he does help him skirt congressional subpoenas.
Yikes. Yikes, folks. We don't know what's going on, right? So what we want to do is this, right? We want to make sure that we know these things, and that is Governor Abbott was the one that said, you know what, we are going to make sure that the border is secure. We're going to make sure that not only is the border secure, but we're going to do it constitutionally. So we're not just going to do it haphazardly, but we're doing it constitutionally. Folks, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. You are a part of the solution. I really believe that. And so what we want to do is leave you with this. Okay? We need more decisions made like this constitutionally. The violations of the Constitution were enumerated with articles, sections, and clauses. And remember what Governor Abbott said. He said Biden isn't taking on Texas. Biden is taking on the United States of America. Please leave the comment below. Let me know your thoughts. God bless you. You have a great night.